Okay, welcome everyone to tonight's mindset call, and I am just super happy and excited to be here with every single one of you guys. I was actually just sitting through earlier today and going through all my different notes, all my different trainings, and was asking myself, okay, what do I wanna give as value on tonight's mindset call? So I was really walking through everything, and I know there's some new people here, so I will just start with introducing myself for some people that I haven't been speaking in front of before. So my name is Emil. I am 24 years old. Actually, I think that's the first time I say it loud on a meeting. But 24 years old, and I've been in the trading industry now for 6 years. So 6 years ago, I made the decision to get started with the trading industry. And why did I do that? So always when I was growing up, I was looking at different, successful people, people that was traveling the world, people that had that type of dream life that most of us would look at. And I always felt within me that will be me one day. But I had no idea what way I was going to take, which route I was going to take. And I started then reading some books about stocks, learning about drop shipping, and so many different things. But then 6 years ago, I got introduced to a guy that was talking about forex trading with me. I'm like, I have no idea what it is. I seen forex on the airport. The yellow bank. That's the only thing I seen. But he introduced me to the forex space and showed me the way of learning a skill where you can start to make money from your phone. And that was the interesting part for me because I knew when I was first starting to become a carpenter that the worst thing for me and myself was that I didn't like to be in a specific place. I wanted to have the freedom and the flexibility to choose where and when I do certain things. And that's when I realized that the industry of trading is a perfect place for that. Because the only one that decides my future will be me. It will not be my boss. It will not be my colleagues. Everything will be laying in my own hands. And I will be the one that choose how much I do or how little I do and when I do things and from where I do things. So today we will go through a couple of different points that hopefully will help you the way that you are thinking and help you the way of how you are operating on a day-to-day basis. And I now try to really be gathering a lot of different points and perspectives that have helped me throughout the years. So what's the purpose of today's training? So the purpose for that I want you guys to understand is just one simple truth is success in trading, business, investing, and life is rarely limited by strategy because most people already know enough to succeed. The real challenge is the person who consistently execute the strategy. And what do I mean with this? Because I think now in 2026 we have access to so much information, but what most people is missing is the long-term game. So that's one of the things that we will talk about on today. So you need to remember that your results will always reflect the person that you have become. So it's not just about the information, it's not just about what you can, but it's about who you are becoming on the journey. So if you want bigger results, you must first become a bigger version of yourself. So, and results are always delayed. And this is the first point. So if you're taking notes, which I would highly recommend because people who apply their notes are money makers, really. Note takers are money makers when you choose to apply those notes. Because I know a lot of you guys, maybe you're already sitting with pages and pages and pages of notes, but you forgot to really apply them. But number one, results are always delayed. And one of the hardest lessons to learn is that success rarely shows up immediately. And in a world full of social media, reels, TikTok, shorts, where everything is instant, everything we want access to is instant. We don't really need to wait so much um, anymore. We have instant messages, instant entertainment, instant information. Because of that, many people are unconsciously, they expect instant success. They start a business and expect customers immediately. They start trading and expect profits immediately. They start investing and expect life-changing results immediately. But real results doesn't work like that. And that's the thing. Think about going to the gym, for example. Nobody walks into the gym and 1 week, and yes, working out for 1 week, and then they expect to have the best six pack, to lift 300 kilo deadlift, or whatever goals they have, right? Everyone understand that physical results take time. But the thing is, financial results works exactly the same way. There is always a delay between effort and reward. The people who succeed are not necessarily the smartest people out there. They are often the people who stay committed long enough for their efforts to compound. Again, if we go back to the gym, I think that's something all of you guys can agree with, right? The people that stay active the longest, do the most for the longest period of time, will usually have the best type of results. But many people quit simply because they stop before the results become visible. And that is so unfortunate. So now if we go into point number 2, and that is stop asking how fast and start asking how long. Point number 2, stop asking how fast and start asking how long. Because most people are obsessed with speed. They ask themselves, how fast can I make money? How fast can I grow? How fast can I become successful? But the thing is, successful people, they think differently. They ask themselves, how long am I willing to stay committed? Because the truth is that almost anything becomes possible if you're willing to stay consistent long enough. The person who commits 5 years will almost always outperform the person who's only excited for 5 weeks, for example. I think that's something we all can agree on, right? With trading, with the gym, with anything. If someone stays consistent for 5 years, the chance of they are more excited or having like outperform results wise the person that is just excited 5 weeks is pretty big, right? So long-term commitment beats short-term motivation every single time. So the goal isn't to find the fastest path. The goal is to stay on the path the longest. Now let's go back to trading again. You've probably seen that yourself. You've been switching strategies since the day you started, or you've been switching signal groups. You've been switching the person that you take education from. But instead, you haven't really even tried the results yet, because that's something that takes time. That's something that you need to stay committed to for a longer period of time. So point number 3, challenges are part of the process. And many people, they see obstacles as a sign that something is wrong. But that's not the case, because successful people see obstacles as proof that they are moving forward. Because if you wouldn't do anything, right, there wouldn't be any type of obstacles. So if you start to apply actions, if you start to grow, if you start to develop, there will be obstacles on the journey. And on every single levels, there come different types of challenges. If you're building a business, for example, having no customers creates challenges, right? Having hundreds of customers, that creates different type of challenges. Managing a small team creates challenges, but also leading large organizations creates different challenges. Having a small trading account creates different challenges compared to managing a large account. So the goal is never to eliminate problems. The goal is to become capable of solving bigger problems. The bigger the problems you can solve, the more money will you make. And growth happens every time you face something difficult and choose to move forward anyway. The obstacle is often the path, because when you choose to put up a goal and you're working on fulfilling that goal, the thing is you will need to become a better version to then be able to hold in that. Let's say you want to build a team of 100 people, or you want to be able to trade with $100,000. You need to become a certain person to be able to handle all the situations that comes with trading with hundreds of thousands of dollars. So then when you are on your journey to come there will be obstacles on the way that you will need to face to grow to the person that can handle that account. So, point number 4, your environment is shaping your future. Whether we realize it or not, our environment is constantly influencing us. The conversation we have, the content we consume, the people we spend time around, the ideas we allow into our minds, all of these things are shaping our future. Sorry for that. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, doubt becomes normal in your life. But if you instead choose to constantly surround yourself with growth, what happens? Learning becomes normal in your environment. And success is often an environment decision before it becomes a financial decision. So I know for a lot of you guys, that would be that you maybe need to change some friends. You need to change some people that you follow on social media. Maybe you even need to move away from your hometown, because that in that place, it's just you're stuck in old memories, you're stuck in old habits, you're stuck in old environments with influence that is not positively affecting your life. So change your environment is one of the key decisions that you can do to really reach your next level. So be really careful when you choose your environment, because eventually you become like the people you spend the most time around. So if you look at everyone that you spend time with over a week, over a month, do they have the life that you want? And if the question is, or if the answer to that question is no, you need to make a careful decision of how you choose to leading forward from that specific moment. So, next point number 5, confidence comes from keeping promises to yourself. Because many people think confidence comes after success. But in reality, confidence is created before success. And that's why successful people are confident. Confidence is built when you repeatedly prove to yourself that you can be trusted. Because how many times have you set up a goal, you have set up a mission, a daily task for yourself, something that you're gonna do under a month, and you don't fulfill that? And what then happens? When you do those habits and when you do that repeatedly, you start to program yourself that the things that you tell cannot be trusted. And if you can't even trust yourself, give me one good reason why other people would choose to trust you. So what you need to start to do is every time you do what you said you would do, that will lead to you strengthening your confidence. So even the smallest things that you say that you're gonna do, you need to start to do them. Because when you show up, even when you don't feel like it, when you follow through, even when nobody is watching, when you stay disciplined, even when the results haven't arrived yet, that's when you build evidence. That evidence becomes belief. That belief becomes confidence. And confidence creates action. And this is usually, as we now understand, a missing factor for a lot of people. Because the strongest confidence is not built through motivation, it's built through consistency. So all the time we see everything is always just leading back to consistency and staying active. So next point number 6, focus on the process and not the outcome. Most people spend too much time thinking about results, but successful people spend more time thinking about actions. Results are important, yes, but results are often outside of your immediate control. Today's action are not. That's something that you can control to 100%. You cannot always control when success arrives, but you can control whether you do the work today. You can control your attitude, your effort, and your consistency. The people who focus on the process eventually gets the results. The people who obsess over results often becomes frustrated and quit. So what you need to do is really fall in love with the process, and the results will follow. Because results is based on you doing the action steps over and over and over again, consistently. So again, we are back to consistent results. Consistent actions will lead to results. So, next point, number 7. Your identity creates your future. And every action begins with your identity. The way you see yourself determines how you behave. So if someone sees themselves as inconsistent, they will act inconsistently. If someone sees themselves unlucky, they will look for proof that life is unfair. If someone sees themselves as a leader, they begin acting like a leader. If someone sees themselves as disciplined, they begin acting with discipline. So your future is heavily influenced by the story you tell yourself about who you are. So now when you're looking back and when you're thinking back, what's the story that you repeat for yourself on a daily basis? Do you say that you're scared to post on social media, you're scared to lose money, you're scared of failure? Or what's the story that you tell yourself? Because the moment your identity changes, your action will begin to change. And when your actions change consistently, your results will change. So the biggest transformation is not external, it's internal. It's about the story that you tell yourself. And you probably heard about the bamboo tree story. But if you haven't heard, there's a famous story about the Chinese bamboo tree. After planting the seeds, nothing appears for years. Day after day, week after week, month after month, the person who continues to watering the seed, yet nothing is visible. Most people would assume that nothing is happening. Most people would quit. But beneath the surface, an enormous root system are developing. Then one day the bamboo tree suddenly shoots upward and grows incredibly fast. I actually saw a video about it when someone was documenting on a day-to-day basis how fast the bamboo was seeing. They were recording 24 hours and you saw, it could grow like this in a single day. Like you would see it in the morning and then you would see it in the evening and it would have grown this type of, length, which is incredible. But the growth was not happening when, the growth was not happening when people could see it. The growth was happening underground. And many people are currently in their bamboo season. They are learning, they are growing, they are developing, they are building, they are improving. But the results may not be visible yet. But that doesn't mean progress is not happening. You just need to choose to stay committed, right? Because if you keep doing those things, then the results will start to appear, and it can go fast. I actually met a guy for some weeks ago now. He started with trading back in 2020 when he was 16 years old. And he said the same thing. For him, with his trading journey, it was incredible because it took him years. He tried every different strategy, he tried every single different mentor. And one day he just chose to stay to the basic, to his strategy, just follow that. And he just had a magic click moment. And since that day, he'd been consistent making money for trading. And now, over the last 6 months, he made over $600,000 for his trading, which is incredible. But now again, someone that have really crushed it with trading, they say that it took them years. They didn't see anything. They blew accounts after accounts after accounts after accounts, and they learned and learned and learned and learned and learned. And one day it just clicked. They understood it, and since that day he'd been making money, which is incredible. So you just need to keep watering your own seed because your breakthrough may be closer than you think. So what's some different action steps that you now can take for yourself to change this? So one thing I would choose to do is write down the person you need to become to achieve your goals. Write down the person you need to become to achieve your goals. Identify one habit that version of you would practice every single day, and commit to that habit for the next 30 days, no matter what. Focus on daily action instead of daily results, and continue showing up even when progress feels invisible. Because most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a month, but they dramatically underestimate what they can accomplish in a few years. So stay consistent, stay committed, stay patient, because the person you become during the journey will always be more valuable than the destination itself. The person you become throughout the journey will always be more valuable than the destination itself. So with that said, I hope this training now have helped you unlock some new perspectives, teach you some way of thinking that can now change your situation and your environment and the way you're thinking, the way you take actions on a daily basis. And I know if you apply these thoughts, if you apply these things, your life will change forever. So that was actually everything from me tonight. Thank you so much for everyone jumping on. And I will say peace out, much love, and ciao, ciao.